Hello, welcome to the Aquarian Mind Podcast. Today's podcast episode number 330. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Book Insight Friday. Another book reading today, and we're delving into I Woke Up a Black Man. Because sometimes, in order to understand race, the roles must be reversed. And yes, that is the quote that's on the top of my book cover. So, that was just something I got crafty with and wanted to put on the book cover to garner more attention to the book. Anyway, we're going to delve into this book today. It's a controversial book. It's garnered attention in places that I didn't think. It's garnered some readers that I didn't expect either, but hey, that's what it's about. Conversations, uncomfortable ones at that. This book regards race relations and racism in America. If you want to know about the book, how it was written, why, all that good stuff, podcast number 78. Podcast number 78. It'll be easier to find it if you go onto my website, theaquarianmindpodcast.com. You click on episodes, standalone books. You will find it very quickly, and you'll be able to listen to how I went about the book. Now, let's delve into the synopsis, aka the storyline of this book. Eric, a white man, wakes up one morning to find out he's a black man. While he does freak out, his life doesn't stop because of this. He goes out into the world to find out the stories his best friend Warren tells of being a black man has truth to them. Eric soon realizes that there is a huge race problem that exists in this country. After his experiences of being a black man, he understands that his white privilege has allowed him to get by in life and that change must happen, and it starts with him. Sometimes to understand the racial issues that exist in this world, the roles must be reversed. So that is the storyline of this book. Now, let's delve into the chapters. There is Forward, The Shock of My Life, Going Out into the World, Late Night Train Rides, Sweats and Hoodies, I Live Here, Hip Hop Culture, Saying the N-Word, Social Injustice, Police Pulls Me Over, It's Not Just White Racist, Another Day of Harassment, Portrayals of Black People, Two Different Life Experiences, Being Constantly Followed, Mass Incarceration, What's Up My N-Word. I keep it G-rated on this podcast. Be mindful of that. I don't curse, and if you guys have ever noticed that also. Warren Speaks, Meeting Warren's Parents, Understanding Protests and Discussions, Reflections of My Childhood, Waking Up White Again, Time to Impact the World. So that are those are the chapters that are part of this book. So let's delve into the book reading of this. This is going to be fun. All right, so the forward. Unless you are ready to accept and understand that racism exists in America and around the world, I strongly suggest you don't read this book. While this is a fictional story, this is just a small amount of the realities of being a black man in America. If you don't have an open mind about reading this content, I suggest you do not read this. This book has vulgar language and will tackle issues that go on among black men in America. This is dedicated to all of the young black men and women lost to senseless acts of violence that deal with racism in America, whether it be at the hands of police officers or citizens of this country. You are gone, but never forgotten. All right. Chapter 1, The Shock of My Life. What the hell is going on? Why is my skin darker? Oh no, this can't be, Eric. This has to all be a bad dream. Okay, get a hold of yourself. Let me smack myself and see what happens. Damn, this is reality. How did this happen? Why did this happen to me? As I'm staring at myself in the mirror in my bathroom, a bunch of things are running through my mind. Is this some kind of sick joke being played on me? I don't get it. I'm a black man. Okay, maybe it's just my face and not the rest. Ah! Oh my goodness, I'm black all over. What the hell am I gonna do? Can't go to work like this. No freaking way. This isn't good. Not good at all. There's no way I can tell anyone this. Maybe I can just be black at home. Go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow. Back to normal. This can't be some lesson that's being taught to me, right? I look up to the man above and ask him this. This is all starting to make sense now. All those conversations I have with Warren. See, Warren's my best friend. He's a black man who always tells me his experiences that he deals with. I tend to take them like a grain of salt a lot of times, thinking to myself, it can't be that bad to be black. They have created hip-hop culture, great music, created clothing brands, set trends. That's the bigger picture. I understand that there are things that happen regularly, but to sit here and believe all black men deal with it, hard to comprehend that. Okay, let me grab my washcloth and try to wash my face. Alright, it's not coming off. This is going to be my life. I'm a black man, for however long the man above sees fit. It's going to be very interesting, that's for sure. I called Warren to tell him what happened to me. He definitely didn't believe me and laughed out loud. I told him to come to my house to see it for himself. Today, I was definitely going to be late for work. When Warren got to my apartment, I opened the door. His jaw dropped and he was astonished at what is happening right now. He was speechless. Didn't know what to say. It's not like he could ask me how this happened because I don't even know. All he could say is, welcome to his world. It's going to be crazy. That he will be sure to make sure I experience everything he does. Now things were about to get real. Now I was nervous. The fact that I don't know what's to come is what scares me. I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. Not many black people live here. So being black in this neighborhood spells trouble for me. That's chapter 1. All right. On to chapter 2. This is going to be the last of what I'm going to do as far as his book reading. All right, chapter 2, going out into the world. Warren was waiting for me in the living room until I was ready, as I threw on some dress clothes and got myself together. Since Warren drove to my house, I gave him my parking space. Then I moved my car to the street and parked there. I normally take the train to work by myself. The train station was a block away. When we were walking to the train, people were staring at us. There were 2 older white women who were talking in a low tone. As we passed them, I heard one of them say, "What are black people doing in our neighborhood?" Shocked to my dismay, I looked at Warren and asked him, "Did you just hear what they said about us?" Warren looked at me as if it didn't faze him. To me, I thought to myself, this really goes on every day in America. It was as if we didn't belong in this part of town. I didn't understand. What does it matter if we're walking through the neighborhood? When we got to the train station, we were talking and waiting. People were staring at us as if we didn't belong. They were walking by us and giving us cold stares. Their eyes pierced my black skin as if I was being burned by their rage at my presence. I couldn't believe what was happening to me. It made me feel uncomfortable that the color of my skin was such a huge factor in this town. Warren and I never traveled to work together, but today we did. The stories he would tell me about his train rides I didn't believe. But today, I was seeing people's true colors. They didn't have a care in the world for us. I was in nice dress clothes, polished shoes, with a spring jacket on. It was like any other morning in the suburbs of America, and here I am, experiencing something Warren deals with daily. Now I'm realizing that older white people would cringe at the thought of me living in their town. It was the first time I ever experienced racism. Some of it was blatant, and some of it was silent racism. Silent racism was something Warren would always tell me about. It was body language and facial expressions that personified that. It was more of who the F are you, and how can you afford to live in my town mentality. Not necessarily the thought of how nice that we see different races in our neighborhood. Warren would always tell me they don't want gentrification in neighborhoods they own already. They want to infiltrate the predominantly black neighborhoods and buy up all the land for their benefit. The cold stares continued as we kept engaging in conversation and watching others. Some white people would say good morning to us or give us a head nod. We would acknowledge them, but it seemed forced in some instances, as if they're just saying, "You're cool, just don't F up our neighborhood." The train ride into the city saw its share of different people getting on. As we go past certain stops, more black people get on the train. I started to think to myself how many of my counterparts get mad when black people sit near them on the train. It's not like you can control who sits where on the train. I can only imagine what some people think in their heads every day. You start to see the racial breakdown and divide of how certain races live in certain towns, and that's just how it was. There was never any question of it. That was just life in this city, just like any other place, and it's the way we all lived here. Warren and I got to work, and I started to understand his stories. I knew more things were coming. I was just not prepared for it. So those are the first 2 chapters of I Woke Up a Black Man. Now, it gets deeper, gets more controversial, and for good measure, a good amount of this content in this book are life experiences of mine. And I delve into that a little bit more on podcast number 78. This book is available everywhere except Amazon. You guys know the deal. I don't really do Amazon too much anymore. But Barnes & Nobles, iTunes, book libraries. So ebooks will be available there. Ebook is also available on thebookpatch.com. And paperbacks are available for order on thebookpatch.com also. And this book is available in audio. So since you're listening to this in audio, my book, I Woke Up a Black Man, is available in audio on payhib.com /Jamel Crothers. I will leave the link in the descriptions for where you can find this book. It's definitely a book worth reading. So if you want to read it, it's available. If you want to listen to it, it's available. And I recorded it myself. So yes, I'm getting back to normal a little bit. The cold is slowly starting to go away, so I don't sound as stuffy if you listen to the audiobook. Just giving you a heads up on that. So that is my podcast for today. Thank you always for listening. As always, be good and go accomplish your goals.